if we can't get a replacement for the other one in real quick, we can re-rope that second one and have it as a backup. It's about $6-7 to re-rope it.
Roll. Well, what's that, what's re-roll?
So that's sealing, you have segments in the boiler. And between them, it's called roping, but it's the insulation between the segments. That's all gone out. It is a couple of weeks if they can patch, but we gotta figure out if we wanted to spend the $7,000 to $8,000 in that. There's no way we can get boiler in now. Plus, we've got City Hall, boilers made it, they survived, but everything's gutted downstairs. So the engineering department is working on the main floor temporarily until we can move people around. So City Hall basement's gutted, all gotta be redone. Public safety building, the whole police side is gutted, sheet rock cut 4 feet up off the floor. So there's 2 buildings right there that have to be all redone before we can start normal operation again.
Well, I don't know if this is far time, but the question I had was, what's the time frame for up here, the use of these facilities? Or is there shelter, staging area, and will that impact our rentals come?
Right now, the shelter's closed. They almost reopened it the day they were closing it because they thought they were getting people from the military. So right now, it's clean. I don't know, I've actually got Kevin Putney coming to do the carpeting over there. But it's the same status as always been. I did a call, we opened it up.
So when we're calling ourselves a regional facility for this purpose, we're really talking about more statewide responsibilities than we have had in the past.
Because there is no shelter in the area. Actually, I was surprised they called us because I thought they would have jumped on 7 and brought them down to Rutland. But I think Rutland is still operating too.
But my question is like, because the function blocks, we talk about the heat. People can get back. Some of the apartments might not be heat, right? And then that's gonna be a major issue. Is the city have someone, city who's like, can they appoint someone recovery, or is it just Nicholas? Who's?
Right now, it's Nicholas and I, but we're meeting, because we're looking at major renovations for 2 buildings right now. So we're gonna discuss bringing in a project manager and getting these things out of bid for, 2 buildings renovations.
Yeah, is there any discussion, is there any discussion, because come October, it's heating season. Heat facilities. Is there just any, has there been discussions about reopening this, or is that not a thing?
Reopening.
The shelter?
The shelter here at the odd.
We haven't heard anything yet. Doesn't mean we won't.
But I'm just trying to, I guess there's a chance, maybe some council said to me, events happen in the auditorium this winter, maybe, depending on what happens with, housing situation, that could be a problem. Is that something that realistic? Or
Yeah, that's realistic.
I don't know if you're gonna get
Oh, the race is on.
these apartment buildings, getting heat, it's gonna be a challenge.
It's getting late in the season too.
Yeah,
Winter's not that far away.
so yeah, I was talking about middle of October, it's,
So as far as the heat system that we have in this building, switching back to, we have 1 boiler that's up and running, that's fine, there's no damage to any of that. So, any damage to this building in general in the flood?
No.
So you reseal the boiler that you got, you've got a spare if needed for this year, and then next year you tackle the boiler. Okay. So, we've got different size projects in here. I want to get focused back on what we were doing before. forward in terms of like painting this room. We had paint walls on alumni, which is done, soundboard, I've done paint walls at the top of the stairs in alumni, which is all done. There's some bathrooms that we're gonna take a look at, getting the mirror set up, paint waste baskets with covers in them. Replace the carpet in the elevator, I think that's
That's
done.
done.
Paint all the stairways in the auditorium prior to the locker room stairs.
Yeah, those haven't been done.
You know, it's hard to, you know, I think there's a lot more that we have to do with floor mats and all three buildings. Exterior paint on the, there's some bigger ones. One of the worst areas is obviously right on the entrance to the gym. And that's a
Yeah.
really easy to paint. I don't know, is that?
Well, see, I mean, my guys are still doing, plumbing there.
But I imagine most people doing repairs or painting or anything like that, drywall or having to slam with the floor. Get done through August. There's stuff we want to do, but I think we're gonna have to hold off until we have more manpower and people get through.
Question, do you have some sort of idea of your calendar and Ship's calendar for how you make decisions over the next 3 months? Or do you just have to just
I
kind of be
mean,
kind of,
right now, we've just been
just
putting
go
out
on the
fires each day.
Okay,
We actually got, a contractor working in City Hall right now because of all this moving around with the basement being torn out, we're tackling the old PD section to make it usable, so we can move people around at City Hall.
Yeah.
And he was hard to find. There's 2 guys that bid on it. And it wasn't cheap because they're all busy. If you want it fast, you'll pay more.
I know. The one thing I just want to say, I've already had one experience with sort of like a bait and switch kind of operation. So I just, like on major purchases like boilers, just keep an eye on what's going on. So anyway, this is going to be a tough couple of weeks for all of us.
Weeks.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to get my calendar in order so I can have heat in the building.
Full slide and all that there. Yeah.
What about, someone asked me, ran one of the guys team or sent it to us. On that card. We want to know,
That's, we can't,
can't,
right now, we don't have the money to give towards that. I don't know what's gonna happen. I haven't talked to anybody from UISA since.
wasn't that money come up? Improvement funds?
We had talked about making a significant contribution from our funds to that. They had come up, can't remember what, I said the last time, they'd come up with a significant portion of it, but it's not. So they were hoping to get kind of a third from us, a third from them, and then a third from a different source. They struck out with Barre Town. Yeah, Barre Town, I think he basically said that they couldn't get past the fact that why would they contribute to something not theirs?
Originally, they asked for more than a third from the city because they're asking for money from the Civic Center Improvement Fund and from the center as a second entity. And then they said, no, so we make one contribution. Here,
This group's funds are technically still available.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay, that seems to be clearly.
Also consider contributing $100,000 of that money to
ARPA,
what?
to the ARPA match.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have, what, around 180 in the
we're
fund?
as of July or June 31st, we're 201,316.
I thought they're asking for 50. Could be wrong.
I think they're asking for 50 for the carpet. Yeah. So, the 100 would be just to us to contribute to the matching funds. Yeah. The 50 for the carpet, with to have a discussion, I was actually, on the next item, so we'll talk about that. You know, I personally think that would be great to have over there. Grants, I'm thinking of the other matching funds. But we would have to vote and see how everyone felt about donating that. Any of that kind of.
I just want to make a point that roughly 150,000 or 200,000 we have has some possible commitments.
Yes.
And we shouldn't spend, you know, shouldn't spend it on anything else at this point until either we vote on something or whatever. But I agree, at 50, if they come up with the rest of the funds, and all we're missing is 50, we need to have more.
What's the general consensus with everyone here in terms of putting turf up in the facility?
And for it, I know they over this summer, like kids play box cross, just in hockey rinks. Never used one very right before, and rain and flooding. But we know we played indoor in a little area, St. Albans, we had an here, it would have been used all through summer. Right, we had practice in the fall and gym, right, maybe. We've been very used to giving sometimes doors.
It seems like it's also, I mean, I think it's a good idea, but it's also potentially a good resource for this regional shelter concept that we have. That I would rather be sleeping on a cot on carpeting than not. So it actually might be a nice positive bonus for the whole building complex, should this disaster continue to expand.
Yeah, I agree with that. It would be a tough sell to BYSA.
I understand, but given our responsibility, I needed to say that.
Right. Certainly, we've seen with these facilities, there's a priority list and emergency shelters. So like one thing we have here, when they need that, it will override sporting events or shows or whatever it is. So
We have it.
we can, I'll reach out to Ben to see if, you know, where he stands. It sounds like they are ready with some money, significant money. We would be ready for $50,000 of our funds, which has to get approved by the city.
Okay, I've got just a generic question. Jeff, are you still with a calendar that's, you know, you're gonna make ice at the usual time and the whole bit?
Yes.
Okay,
You get my travel? Kind of. We hired a new guy. He'll be trained. Rowdy is gonna come in. As we work something out with the union, Rowdy can come in for a maximum of 90 days as a temporary employee. And he'll be training pretty much, not just some new guy, but Joel is backup. Probably April as a backup. So we've got 4 operators.
The guy that you hire is experienced at that, over there, he doesn't know.
so what's your date for that?
We start making ice around October 16th.
Good. Back on that turf, you know, Ben has significant monies, would have about 50. There's a third component that's missing. So I'll reach out to Ben and talk to him about that, so we can get ideas for that third component.
We realize they a lot of money in their cost rate, and they should make it for them. And the rest are.
Yep. That might be too rich for them, I don't know. Either that or some sort of capital fund with businesses or something. I see, you know, it's kind of their baby a little bit, they put this together. So I'll just reiterate, you know, our commitment to it, to go forward, put 50 grand to it. See what it goes. So, if he's got clear access and he's got a good plan, then we'll invite him in next meeting. See what he says. It might be shelved until next summer, at this point. Okay. So I think just to sum up on that one, the facilities improvement, I think we're gonna just basically have to wait this one out a little bit. VR usage will commit to that. And then it's business as usual in terms of the hockey. Anything else on VR?
No, just that, the Southern Baptist people that are out here, they'll be utilizing that beginning this weekend. Right now, they're going back and forth from their stuff up here down to the church next to the post office. So they're just gonna be doing their meals and they'll be sleeping on cots in here for the next couple of weeks or so.
In the,
And you are,
with no curfew.
with no carpet. I give each one of them a square.
Okay, thank you.
Has that been used fairly extensively through this process?
So the animal rescue people were in there from day one. They just left Sunday.
So, I don't, do we get money for that? No. Yeah,
How many families do you end up with over here?
The most we had for an overnight was, it was 267.
267 people?
in Montana. And they're on the asphalt work, that would
On the, yeah.
Wow.
Carpet,
How many are still there?
yeah. 0.
And no revenue from, I don't mean to be barbaric here, but no revenue comes in from any host services?
No.
That's why we qualify for federal funds, like our,
That's how we got the $80,000 generator.
earmark grant.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right, that's what Dawson benefits. Dawson thinks help improve, but the flip side is that with that comes, they take over, right, Ross takes over, right, the
Mhm.
state.
So back to an earlier piece that was discussed. If there was to be a natural disaster in December, there are a couple of events planned. Does the disaster and the auditorium take priority over the event?
Yep.
So what's the purpose of organizing events? Seriously.
Well, I mean, natural disasters, I mean, quite frankly, if we had asphalt cities with March, something like this happened in March, we try to host asphalt. People would lose minds. They would, yeah,
And once the auditorium loses it, I don't think it'll come back.
keep back.
What of that?
We have a disaster, every case we shut down. We screwed them.
Back in the 80s, there was a meningitis outbreak
Yeah.
in this area. During the tournament was moved to Middlebury. And it came back thereafter. So, there's an example for you.
Good.
I know
Remember that, Ernie?
I do.
I was like,
Yeah, somewhere over there.
No. I understand what what we're talking about here is it's hard for making commitments and then having potentially the rug pulled out. I think we need to move forward with those and hope that we don't have the natural disasters. And we'll ask for understanding if we do. But we're in the business of kind of promoting this facility and this whole, and so we need to not, I don't know how to word it, but the facilities were a huge help to this community and state.
It's something to be proud of.
It's something to be proud of, and it's something to, there's a lot of naysayers to this facility, you know, just hockey rink, who cares, basketball, who cares? But this is a lot more than that, and we need to be able to get that message out and have a real good understanding of what this is used for. And if you could get something together about kind of what it was used for, and you have that information. And I don't know if we, not do a press release or whatever, but if we're gonna go forward, we're gonna ask for money and that, you know, $1 million home. And people say, well, why would we want to invest in that whole facility up there? Here's why, you know.
200 families up here.
Or 270 people up here.
That wasn't families, people, right?
People, there's certain people up here, but where would we go if they got?
Exactly.
you know, and you need this facility for that reason, and.
The school's like a backup shelter. So,
But it's low, I mean, I would trust that.
Great.
the very city elementary middle school is also a shelter. It's an overflow, it's a backup.
Did they have people there over the flood?
No, if we had reached, I think our capacity is 300 and some odd over
But
here.
there was something that they weren't ready for.
Right, well, that was Berry Town School. Berry Town School is also a shelter, but the showers don't work. They have worked for 25 years.
So now they don't fix the showers.
Yeah, good time.
Even our showers work over there.
Help get a little bit to get, that was another issue. I mean, because the animals were in there, they were telling me,
That's what, that shelter.
I'm just imagining now, I'm going over with my fluffy slippers to take a shower with all the dogs. Okay. Okay, anyway, let's keep going.
Get that out of your mind.
I can't.
Well, actually, I had it too. Jim, does some great stuff. We advertise, we get Jim's email blast, you go once in a while to the sponsors, people who, maybe at some point, when you talk about, put together something, we send it out to people who advertise, just so they know that, like, hey, you're advertising dollars, upgrades. This was not shows, but this was you helped upgrade this facility, and this is what we've done. I think people, I bet you, because I'm a little worried about losing some sponsors, some business, obviously, but if people know that how this is used, I bet you they.
I think they would think that the use of that, their sign or whatever it is on the building, is just as important as anything else that goes on in there.
Yeah. I think,
Yes.
once you guys put together how, that it's put together, sending to the advertiser, I think, I mean, I know that some advertisers, I think it'd be great to see that, hear that.
I think I support it, and I'm with you 100%. I'll get that out next week. Absolutely.
the first wave of people we got that night, there were 60 people from Berlin. That was the first wave. Yeah. And then it started with the north end here. They were, because you get those trailer parks now.
Yeah.
For some reason, they love to build trailer parks in their rivers.
That's not the first time happening.
So that was the first wave, 60 right off, just like that. And then the river just kept coming. People from the north there, how are we getting here? Any way you could.
And if,
Some of them say, they're going, so the water's up.
Get thrown in the water now.
Well,
Yeah, on that.
people didn't know where to go. I spent days upon days downtown, and I can definitely say that the signage improved over time considerably. And I think a lot of people really didn't understand where they were supposed to go. So that would be one area where I think we need to be ready to educate people about, this is where you head.
If you could say something like 200 or whatever it is, people from Barre, Montpelier, Burlington, whatever.
Williamstown people, Berlin people.
Yeah, if you could give them some, so that an advertisement, well, it's just not 260 people from the city of Barre, it's really all over, wherever we start. It's out there, it's gathered, right?
Yeah.
If you have that kind of information, that would be good, put in there.
I think a lot of the people around here don't quite realize what we do up here. I'm sure the city is, city council is pretty aware of it and they know it. And are supportive of this place a little more than that. But this facility was huge in helping it, so we do need to present that to people that need to hear that, so. It'd be great to get a whole write-up of that, and then if you send that out, that'd be great. Great facility.
Can I ask one question? As far as revenue goes, or the net costs of what we get in the fall, winter, and the VOR with hockey and whatever else goes on in there, in your estimation, because I didn't hear that. Guys talked about it a lot as far as the carpet goes, putting that down in the VOR, their expectations, anywhere, any kind of expectations as to what they thought they would generate from income Did we talk at all about an hourly price, the same as what it would be for ice?
Yeah, so,
How about you in your mind, what do you think?
well, let's say, like, as it is now, you know, we don't charge a lot in the summer for usage. Basically, like if you were to come in and you want to rent one batting cage, you're gonna bring a couple of kids into this, I think it's $35 an hour. Or $25 an hour. When the schools, Barre Community Baseball, organizations like that, we have an organizational rate. $35 an hour for the whole thing, all four batting cages, the whole space. So we were looking at a fee structure with the carpeting now.
Yeah.
It's going to go up, quite a bit. But it's gonna be the same thing. Schools, community baseball, stuff like that they'll have a rate, the general public will have another rate. And, you know, what it is, we haven't figured out yet, maybe $100 an hour or something like that.
BYSA would get it for less.
BYSA, you know, those organizations. You know, and I don't know if they ever did approach, like Barre Community Baseball, I told them, approach them for, you know, putting in a share.
That doesn't fall under BYSA.
No, Barre Community Baseball is a separate entity.
UNSA is hockey, basketball, soccer,
Football. I'll get a few rubber birds.
I personally think it's going to be absolutely shell shocking what you get for revenue over here, and the amount of people that are gonna want to rent that space once the floor goes down. I mean, I think it's gonna be tough for the guys that want to use it for soccer, field hockey, and lacrosse and stuff like that, because they're gonna run into the interference of you having trade shows, dog shows, whatever kind of things, those things are gonna happen.
Mhm.
I really believe that.
I think there's a greater need, desire for indoor in the winter. I think as hockey members this way, kids who do their soccer houses and go across, and you know, I mean, I think there's a demand out there, won't be able to utilize it, but I think a lot more kids and adults are doing those, using these facilities on hockey.
Yep, I know, BYSA they don't have the protections that we would like, but they kind of had the feeling like what you just said about, you know, we're gonna have it up there, people are gonna come use it. Whether it's football or whatever kind of game is, they weren't really sure, but they're just not doing better use. So, I agree, I think that'd be right. Good, anything else in the BOR?
It might be, having that carbon, there might be something that drives someone to have a home show.
Yeah, I agree.
I said it before, with sports over there, you couldn't play sports, you couldn't rent an indoor around for the front. You tried, these kids were slipping all over the place, it was unsafe.
I can tell you, 2 weekends ago, I was in Essex, it was indoor lacrosse, and it was 8 in the morning, the games 8 in the morning, till 5 or 6 at night, people, everybody's between games, and an hour between games, and they're running out to the stores, supplies, I mean, it's and Essex was like, not really the first choice, it just wasn't the many options, you know, very under consideration. Could be, and they're just, you know, I watch my kids, I'm sitting looking at all these people and just my own family, that we're running behind, you know, I mean, it's a great thing that we not otherwise. I'm not saying we necessarily get it, those, once you have it, it creates,
You have the option,
opportunity.
you're living in the whole country.
Well, they were starting for space this year. Find facilities to use.
They're changing the times.
Oh, shit, every facility is doing that, ski mountains right now, they're not ski mountains, they're golf, they're ski, they're mountain bike, they're expanding.
They put it on, you got some of them.
They, right, and so we have a big building here, which is a great building that pretty much sits in the summer. So how do we use it? This would go along those tours. Okay, excellent. We'll, moving on. So our meeting, it's, you know, it's Wednesday now, we always have these on Tuesday. We talked about moving it to Wednesday, primarily because of a conflict with the city manager and city heads on Tuesday.
Yeah.
She gets out of the meeting, he quite likes it.
You just miss it.
I must ask you,
Yeah.
I don't know how often it goes from to the meetings. You know, the previous city manager, obviously, Steve would come in and I thought that was helpful to have. So we gotta kind of figure out what people feel about our meetings. Do we continue on a Tuesday? Do we make a permanent switch to a different day? We're Wednesday right now. Does that work for everyone? What's everyone's thoughts on that?
Works for me. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay. How about
who's
us?
gonna have retired, right, every day Saturday.
Semi-retired.
Yeah.
Gonna be, meeting at school, 9 o'clock.
Does anyone have conflicts with moving it to Wednesday?
So,
We need to probably, do we need to vote on that, to change that? Call that?
I mean, one alternative is that, but I don't think this works for most people. We could just put together a one-year calendar and we could rotate it. So there were options on Wednesday and options on Tuesday, but that would mean that we would have to actually write things down in our personal calendars. So
I'm a big fan of keeping it on one day.
that's what I think.
It's not as long as it's conflicts. You know, I know that there was some concern on that. So someone.
That we change our monthly meeting to Wednesday, second Wednesday of each month. Yeah, that is. Yeah. Second.
Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed?
No, just kidding.
That's too late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, who made the motion?
Second. Seconded.
You threw the 8 o'clock in.
Yeah, 8 o'clock is good. Okay, next item up is marketing report for Jim.
Okay, folks, this is a little ways away, but to bring some good news to the meeting this morning. The first ever high school basketball winter solstice, which is going to be held on the Saturday before Christmas on the 23rd of December, is moving along very nicely. I have visited all 4 schools. I met with the athletic directors and a couple of the coaches and even 2 or 3 of the different players. They're all excited for this event. That's going to involve 4 games on Saturday, beginning at 11 o'clock, 11, 1, 3, and 5. And the 4 schools which will be participating this year are the boys and the girls team from Hazen Union over in Hardwick, and boys and girls down at People's Academy in Morrisville, which are staunch rivals, hence that's why I went after them. And more closer to home, the boys and girls team from Montpelier, and then Spalding. That should be very, very good. I've already secured one sponsor for this event. I'm a t-shirt guy. I like to give t-shirts out to people that are participating, to the coaches, the players, cheerleaders, everybody, and they walk around. And thanks to the Moonville last year and Abel Cole and his car dealerships, we sold sleeves for $500 a piece. A little more aggressive this year. I've been approaching companies on sponsoring those sleeves for $1,000 a piece. And we're fortunate to have a Union Bank commit to that sponsorship. So one is there. The rationale being the Union Bank has a branch in all 4 communities. And the second sleeve, I'm pretty sure is gone as well, to either 1 or 2 places, the car dealership over in Hardwick
or something more geographically spread out throughout New England, a large hardware company whose colors are orange and green. It looked as if they're going to commit to the other states, so that will give us some $2,000 for advertising on those t-shirts, cover that charge. If the winter solstice comes off like I think it is, we're going to have other schools that are going to want to participate. And I've already had an inquiry, strong inquiry from the women's coach at Mount Mansfield. I want to come up to the auditorium and play. This could get a little, I'm not sure, but this might get a little sticky with the BPA, but as long as these schools do not go over the maximum 20 games on their schedule, I think we could pull it off. And maybe, as I think ahead, whoever's doing it in years to come, they quite possibly could even start doing it during the week and play a couple of games each and every night. And as Bernie just passed to me here a note, I'm going to say this, but Bernie, please, if I am going the wrong way, tell me quickly. As you know, Bernie was able to secure last year a sizable donation from the Barre Granite Association, some $2,500 a year for 3 years. Now, the college gig that we've had for 2 years is not happening this year in November, and I'll skip to that in a couple of minutes. But this high school event, maybe the Barre Granite Association might feel comfortable enough to allow them to sponsor the high school gig versus the college gig. Also, next, the college program, which we had with the state colleges, the men's and women from Castleton, men's and women from Johnson, women from Linden, men from VTC, and men and women from Norwich. That kind of, lack of a better word, got tossed aside. The Castleton team decided to leave that tournament and sort of left us high and dry, as did VTC when they dropped all their intercollegiate sports. So we basically have moved on from that and have been hopeful that we can bring that back in 24. I've been in contact with the gentleman who's the athletic director over at Johnson, who's spearheaded that for the last 2 years, a great guy by the name of Greg Heckman. And I went over to see Greg. He was very, very displeased with us that we dropped that at the last minute. We being 3 of us that were on that committee, we just had the feeling that with the Castleton team pulling out, the BTC pulling out, and there were some subtle messages coming out of Norwich University that the men's team might leave as well. So I called everyone who was on the committee, 2 of which are sitting here to my immediate left, and we unanimously decided to postpone that tournament. However, I went over and sat down in the AD's office in Johnson here a couple of months ago and had this long heart with the athletic director. And I think that bridge has really been mended and it's still there. And just last night, I received this email from Greg Heckman, who's the athletic director. It says, Jim, sorry I missed this email over the week. And this week we started our girls basketball camp. You know, who is on you, blah, blah, blah. Alfred, who's a men's coach at Johnson, said, Alfred and I are working to confirm teams for the fall of 24 and look forward to providing an update in September. So I think that door is half open. So what this means is this year we'll have the high school gig on the 23rd. Next year, we'll have the college gig on Friday and Saturday before Thanksgiving, and then we'll hopefully have the high school gig in December. So we've got 2 events. In full spectrum. I'm pretty excited about that.
Excuse me, what Jim's also going to tell you is that with the Peoples and the Hazen connection, that we think is going to be pretty popular along the small game one player, he's already received extra, interest from other schools that want to participate in something like that too, so that this might expand in years to come.
Just for clarification though, college matchup would happen around Thanksgiving season, like.
Yeah, it's the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay, so
Friday,
people
Saturday.
wouldn't have traveled away. for their-
No.
Okay,
No, as a matter of fact, it works to our advantage because this last November, the school that brought the greatest participation was Norwich, because all the families, moms and dads had driven up to Norwich to pick up their kids for
Right.
Thanksgiving. They all came to the tournament on that Friday and Saturday. They had over 100 people
That's cool.
representing Norwich in the gym both days. It was a good event. And it's picking up because Ashley Morris is bringing in youth teams that, I mean, it just goes on and on. And the gentleman came in and sang the national anthem, all. So I mean, we get better. We're refining it and we get better. Now, here's the big one. And big in so many ways here. I don't know where to go, so I'm looking to the committee to give some suggestions. I've been away for a month due to an injury and just came back yesterday, trying to get organized as quickly as possible. The main thing which is going to happen in the next 30 to 60 days, primarily the month of October, November, is when the bulk of the contracts for the sponsors in both buildings come up for renewal. I gotta tell you, I can't imagine walking into Ace Hardware and sitting down with Bob Nelson and say, Bob, it's time for you to pay us another $1,500 to keep your dasher and your banner in the auditorium. I can't. Matter of fact, I'm not even looking forward to it. Sun Common, for instance, which works out of Kingston, New York, they're fine. I just contacted them yesterday and they're going to extend. Pepsi looks like it might drop away. And that's a $2,000 a year contract we had for 6 years. But I'm in communication with the gentleman that is involved with that, and maybe we can salvage that. But what do we do about these businesses that get flooded out? How in heck can I ask? I don't know. So what I'm asking is, and I worked on the math a little bit last night, and of course I left it down in my office. As in the auditorium, there are 49 sponsors there. The average sponsor pays us approximately $800. The reason for that is we advertise it as $1,000, but there are some sponsors that up over the press box and up over the balcony that we charge $500 for. And then the organizations in town, the Moot Club, the Lions Club, the Kiwanis Club, they have the banners up in the back wall of the balcony, and they pay $500 for those. And you divide that by 3, it's what, I don't know. So that's why I think the average for all those advertising at 49 to 800, do that math. That's something like $35,000, which obviously is what we're looking to do.
How many in the VOR?
I have that downstairs, but I think it's like total, heck, considering banners in, I think it's close to 29. And we're full, both places. And we do have a waiting list for the auditorium. Actually, I got a waiting list of 1-in-1 for both buildings. I'm asking for suggestions from this group. What do we do for these sponsors? I mean, not today, we can do it. Just think about it when we come back in October. I'm asking you to think of this one. Is there any, and I'll have a better, I just thought of this morning, so I'm sorry I don't have the numbers and so on and so forth. I'm working with Mr. Bergeron, and I'm sure we'll have it for October. Is there any way we could send out an email blast, which I will, John, send that one about, the goodwill that we did here in the last month.
But sometime in October, we could send something to the sponsor, or we can say there's a hiatus on sponsorship fees for 3 months. Or 6, I know 6 months is a lot, but 3 months, how much is it going to cost? I think probably, we're talking quite a few $1,000s. But on the other hand, we're gonna lose that. I know it will. I would think I'd probably lose 12 or 15 sponsors by going into their various businesses and asking to continue. So the lesser of two evils might be to show our appreciation, to show our support that, yeah, for 3 months. And it's hard because, I don't know, anything happen in your building, you get flooded downstairs? Okay, so John, so there's, Belson Giacomo's business there, but then they turn around and Sun Common, they had no problems. So, it's like Peter versus Paul or whatever, how can you do anything so that everyone is somewhat satisfied?
Sue, you?
Yeah, okay, so I did have a couple of observations about that. I'm in the nonprofit sector. So what I do is all about obtaining sponsorships, grants, and donations from individuals. And I think that we have never had a stronger story or narrative than we do right now. Stepping up to the plate and providing shelter to families around the region. And I actually think that this is a time that a lot of people will see the outstanding value of this resource. I would offer to any of the sponsors that they could make their pledge payment in maybe 2 pieces instead of the normal one. But I would not hesitate to go out and ask for support. People are giving generously right now. And I really feel like this is a great resource and we have proven the value to the community. And I think that a lot of businesses and individuals will see this as a great resource for the area and not hesitate to step up and renew their support.
I agree with that, but it's a delicate situation. EMS had nothing happened to it, so we want to help out. We came into EMS and said, no problem, yes, we're happy. You go into Nelson's and they're pumping water out of their basement still, and they got, significant 6-figure losses, they're dealing with a bigger pinch right now than sponsorship. So, how many sponsors were highly affected by the flood? We don't have no small portion.
But please keep in mind that roughly 80% of the sponsors are based right here in Washington County.
So, there's some that want to help and are, so there's some tricky stuff.
Yeah, it's to counter that is that, I did 3 years, I think you have to pay 3 years at once. If I did every year, this year I had to renew, I couldn't get 3 years. Just because of our, but I'm different, I'm not analysis. Like, be honest, we sponsor these, I don't know if I ever got these sponsors, we do what we want. That's how we always sponsor.
Yeah.
We do what we want. I don't know if it's.
Because you're a law firm.
There's a law firm, it's different. Nelson, they hardware, region, right? They might, want to advertise it to help, if they're thinking this is good advertising, then they still want to do it. So I think it might be kind of this, like, just for me, if I had done 3 years, there's just no way. This year I could do it. I hope the next year I could, they're on the losses, I could.
Well, you're all set for 3 years.
Yeah, so, but if I wasn't 3 years, I wouldn't, there's no way, because like Knockouts reached out, these all the sponsors show. They reached out to me with flood, we was every director. I couldn't take the call, I don't have to call, so. It happens.
You won't get the money unless you ask. And asking for money is it's like a negotiation. You can have a conversation with those who want to have that conversation. They will be upfront and say, what, right now isn't great, but I'd like to be involved somehow. Would you take a payment over time, for example? That's how it really works in the nonprofit sector. I don't think that this should be something where we make a decision for others. They should make that decision for us.
I don't think there's a nonprofit advertising in any one of the buildings to begin with. But maybe I'm not the right person to continue with this, because I am certainly not walking into Bob Cody down on 302 and asking him to sit up, or Jack at Formula Nissan, when they had 5 tons of crap put into their vehicles and lost all of that. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I think there's got to be a hiatus on this, a postponement.
I think we gotta go see those people, okay, and say to them, you know, we understand that you've been a longtime sponsor or sponsor, whatever you want to say to them, and we understand that you've had a disaster. We'd like to keep you as a sponsor. If we keep your banner up there and you don't pay us for 1 year or something like that, I don't have a problem with that. Anybody got flooded, like we were talking about, and has been a sponsor before, for us to give up $1,000 or whatever the figure is, of income for 1 year, is not the end of the world in my mind. I think you got to treat those businesses. I agree with you. You got to go see them, because it's their decision, not yours.
There's close to 100 sponsors.
Pardon me?
There's close to 100 sponsors.
I know, but how many are affected by the flood? I mean, 10, 15, 20, whatever, I don't know. Whatever it is, I mean, you got the list, and you can obviously look around and see, tell most of the ones that may have been affected. But if they were affected, like I was saying, if you're affected by this flood, we want to keep you as a sponsor. You've been good to us. We need to be good to you. If you got to go a year without paying, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if after a year, and they say, well, I still not on my feet, I can't do it anymore, fine. Then you can look for somebody else, and what Sue's saying, that there may be people out there that want to be involved or whatever. But somebody that's been a long-time sponsor, I mean, I got customers calling us, saying, let us know as soon as you can get up and offer, we want to continue to do business with you, et cetera, et cetera. Even some customers that normally pay in 30 or 60 days or something like that, we're gonna send you a check for what you've already done right away, just to help you out. I mean, cash flow and so on and so forth. I mean, I think you gotta treat them, like Sue says, it's their decision, but we should be able to offer them something for the loyalty that they've had with us, whether it's 1 year or 10 years or whatever it is. And if they decide, no, I'm gonna, I can't stay as a sponsor, fine, thank you very much. Or, well, we're gonna pay this year, fine, we're gonna keep your banner up there or whatever for this year. Hopefully things will be better next year. And if they're not, then we'll have to deal with it. I mean, customers, you've been doing business with for a long time. If you treat them right, they're gonna treat you right. I mean, as I know about it. I think you gotta see it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Or include, basically, if you do it by email first, include a very thoughtful paragraph in your letter of request that says, we certainly understand the hardship that many businesses, perhaps yours, face, and we'd like to work with you to make something happen. I mean, all you have to do is create an additional paragraph or copy that shows that you're sensitive, and you'd like to have a conversation over the phone or meet face to face. But we need, I mean, this is a really important time. We're improving the value of the resource, and I think we can do both.
We don't want to have a conversation. I wouldn't have a conversation now or even in September. You're talking maybe October, November, because right now it's terrible.
Oh, yeah, this is horrible.
Yeah, it's for maybe October, November, I think. We can people have a better assessment. I think they'll have a better assessment of their losses, because there's all sorts of money and grants there. I've been applying for, the people applying for, and people have, right now, doing this stuff.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning here, the large percentage of renewal starts in November, so it obviously here's August. I hear Sue, and I hear our, just think about it, folks, that's all. And,
Maybe you send us a list of the advertisers, because we might be able to have the various community members, might be able to have an insight on who had losses, so that, so we can maybe feel which are advertisers might have been affected.
how about Yes, I have it's downstairs, but I have obviously the spreadsheet of all the sponsors and the buildings. I could certainly how about just making those available at the next meeting in, September?
Yeah. Get an idea, because, you know, I don't know all of these affected, but Brent has their, you know, to me, on some other ones. Yeah, he has an idea.
Jeff, what do you think?
I think Art's idea is a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Cody, you mentioned the Nissan place. You know, I would go down and talk about Cody, talk to Jack, whoever it is down there, and to say, you know, yeah, we understand, you guys have been through a lot.
We've got vendors that said, you know, you know, we owe money to from July, and they call us up and say, don't worry about paying us, take 3 months, take whatever you need or whatever. My son's attitude is, no, I got a bill, I'm paying it. So he pays it. And that's what some of those people might do, or they might say, geez, you know, I need 30 days or 3 months, or I need a year. Whatever they need, I think almost any of them, we could approve it, whatever they think. They're telling you what they need, not you telling them what they need.
And like Bob Cody, his son, second son's will start, I'll play basketball, sophomore and junior, Bob's very active in high school basketball, you know, saying, you know, you never know. I don't know what his losses are, but you know, he's got connections to his building, especially right now.
And waiting till October or whatever, I mean, we're sitting there discussing things with insurance companies, right? I'm saying our company is discussing with insurance companies. Really a lot of fun. And documenting everything, they wanna know every nut and bolt, and whatever, what costs, new, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you know, we had insurance, never had enough insurance, you know, for sure. But we have insurance, and if the insurance comes through like it's supposed to, well, things may not be as bad as we think they are. We don't know that until they come to a decision, and hopefully that's not gonna be too far down the road. But it could be in grants and stuff like that. I mean, there's things out there. So 2 months from now, people will have a much better idea of where they stand than they do today. Time will get better.
Here's my last piece. We got a couple more minutes? Yeah. All right. Dan, do you remember 2 months ago, I mentioned the possibility of having a sponsor appreciation reception here in the auditorium? Yeah, I guess I'm asking, what better time to have that sponsor appreciation time? And I had mentioned, and Sue brought up a great point, as did Bernie, in that I said, maybe we give $1,000 door prize to, you know, one for the odd, one for the BOR. Bernie made a point, said, well, what happens is a new guy or a new sponsor wins, and RK Miles, which has continued, been sponsoring it for 10 years. I mean, is that fair? Good point. And Sue made comments about having something like
We
that.
don't give away money. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
well,
not trying to give away like a free dinner out at a restaurant that is donated.
okay, well, I understand that, and I certainly respect the situation. But maybe we just have a sponsor appreciation time in the auditorium sometime in the next 30 to 60 days, and I don't know what the hell we're doing there. I mean, that's again, something that I'd ask you to give some creativity to, but we'd have refreshments and square dancing.
Well, but maybe it's a good time to, you'll have, with the art, with the invitation and having an event, also use it as a time to roll out to them the airport funding, what we're trying to do, like you got this money and improvements we're looking to do, and maybe share some support, and say, like, hey, you're doing the sponsoring, but there's some, we help us to make these improvements, but there's some major improvements got to be, you know, that, I think they might be interested in hearing that. I mean, that's something to do when they're here, that's a great, to me, it would be, have some planes up, have some, the city must have some PowerPoint or something they can show, like, or have some displays, like, this is what we're looking to do.
I'm hoping that if we were to do that, I would like to see the mayor up here and see,
Yes, city manager and city, I mean, we really lay it on thick.
They don't come down to be fired. I was suggesting if you can, wait until like October.
Oh, yeah, clearly, yeah.
You said next month or two or whatever.
Yeah, let the storm stop.
Again, in October, people are gonna have a much better idea where they stand.
Exactly, great point. I'll let the storm clouds sort of go away, but I will in the month of, what's the date today?
August.
When you, so I will in August send out an email blast saying, hey, this is what's been happening up on the hill during the traumatic time. Just want you to know that planning some other information.
Tell them that you're planning an event or whatever for them in October. September plan. And, you know, for all our sponsors.
So are you suggesting that I can talk with Jeffrey after here, reserve a date and go ahead and plan this in October? Would the committee support that?
Yes. I thought we did before, so.
But there's another meeting coming in here, so we're gonna have
Yeah, I have to go, all right. We will, so I think that's a great idea. I think it's a great chance to sell the facility and what we've been doing with the emergencies. And I've also getting sponsors sign up, like hockey and like basketball. They're sponsoring more, sponsoring emergency response and that kind of stuff. So I think that's a great idea.
And finally, I'm going to start communication with UVM and Norwood to see if their varsity teams, which have come in here in the past, are interested in doing it again this year.
Anything else, Jim? Was that-
That's it.
Okay, should be something quick. Anything that we haven't covered?
to, what I'll do is I'll send out an email, you know, what's coming up for events for the next month or so.
Are there many?
Oops. Don't do that right now. I'm not sure. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't even looked at what was, you know, scheduled ahead of time.
It'd be great to see what's coming up. It'd be great to see if you can get something out of what we've done.
Yeah, and then we'll look at an October date to have this sponsor and then.
Yeah, you basically like being done over something. Pictures, we need this picture now, what's going on.
Jeff, did you write down, the Heritage Festival was rescheduled for the end of September?
Yes. it's
Okay,
the-
so there might be some stuff that takes place around, the 28th or somewhere in that range, I think. 22nd.
22nd, 23rd, 24th.
Right, okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because that's why I was kind of thinking when Jim was talking about that, I had that date in my mind. What if we did this sponsor thing right before that, or maybe the weekend after, but while everybody's in a good frame of mind, it's,
Something to think about.
yeah.
We do the sponsor appreciation on a weekend?
Or maybe that Thursday night before the Heritage Festival, that would be like September 21st, which might be too soon from now. So we'll look at October.
Yeah, please.
Any other questions for Jeff or? Then we kind of run out of time here. I know there's no one coming in.
Mr. Denny, it's good to see you here after what I read in
What I hear about you, it's good to see you.
Jim says it's good to be seen.
One of the most, probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of stupid things, but that was one of the clearly top of the list. And
We all do think every now and then.
5 weeks.
Most recently, I don't remember very well.
Does anyone have anything else on this before we adjourn?
So are we tabling number 9?
I think we have to say,